court and be signed by the president.
Dead on arrival, said the president's spokesman. Texas Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison is the ranking Republican on the Commerce Committee and joins us now. What do you make of that statement from Jay Carney, Senator?
Well, I think the White House is out of the picture now, and I think that what we must do in Congress is put together a package between the Democrats and the Republicans in Congress and send it to the president for signature.
I've always heard that, compromise leaves almost nobody happy. It seems like a lot of Democrats aren't particularly happy with what's in the Boehner bill, but a lot of Republicans aren't particularly happy with it either. Does that potentially make it a good thing?
Well, I think that with the time deadline that we're facing so close, that none of us are going to be completely happy with what goes through. I do think we have a common goal of raising the debt ceiling with significant cuts, dollar for dollar cuts. And I think that basis is the same among Democrats in the Senate and Republicans in the Senate. So I think we have a basis to move forward, that a cut-for-cut debt ceiling lifting can go forward, but then we have the opportunity before the end of the year under the proposal that Speaker Boehner has put forward, and also I think would be acceptable in the Senate, to look at the long-term cuts that are necessary to make it better.
You are not running for re-election yourself, but here is what Republicans say. They say the White House wants some kind of a debt ceiling deal that's going to put off another vote on this very painful and, as we can see, argumentative issue until after the next presidential election. Do you see it that way?
I think that is true. I think the president is forcing something that would go into the after the election process, which we would support if we had real cuts that would achieve that kind of increase. But so far, the White House has put nothing out for cuts, and so we are going to try to hammer something out with Republicans and Democrats. And I think in this short time frame, we're certainly not going to get to 2.7 trillion. We're going to be more in the 1 trillion area.
I want to ask you about something Jay Carney said from the podium there at the White House just a short time ago. He essentially characterized, and of course this is a very broad paraphrase, but he essentially characterized the Republican approach to this issue this way, and I wrote down the quote. He said, I am going to blow up the economy if you don't do what I want. It would seem that the White House, well, let me get your take on what he had to say, that quote, first of all.
Well, if he's talking about the president blowing up the economy,
no, he seemed to be saying that Republicans are holding the White House hostage and saying, if you don't accept our plan as a whole, we're going to blow up the economy. That's what he seemed to be saying.
Well, the Republicans have been at the bargaining table. They have offered concessions, and they've offered so many opportunities for a compromise, but the president basically never would agree to anything, and there was never anything concrete from the president. I think the lack of leadership and even the timing of the leadership, he didn't even get in this until 2 weeks ago. He should have been starting on this in January. He knew this debt ceiling had to be raised, and he was not being helpful with the budget he put forward. It was a freeze on 2011 spending, which is an elevated spending level because of his stimulus package. So I think that he needed to come to the table earlier and provide leadership, and I think now Congress is saying, well, we're going to have to do something short term, and hopefully, Mr. President, you're not going to blow up the economy in your own administration.
Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, Republican of Texas. Senator, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's go straight to the White House now for the latest. Wendell Golder is joining us live with, well, the developments as they tick by, really moment by